This new approach, the Red List of Ecosystems, was adopted as a global standard by IUCN, or International Union for Conservation of Nature. And that's what we're here to learn about. I've taken the opportunity to get out of the office and into this beautiful ecosystem, the mountain ash forest. It's one of our red-listed ecosystems that is closest to my home in Melbourne. It's home to a plethora of plants and animals, including these extraordinary mountain ash trees, which are amongst the tallest in the world.
What we did to overcome this is use satellite remote sensing to map the ecosystem, and then use an archive map dataset produced by the US Army during the Korean War in the 1950s, and make a map time series from these different sources. Well, we discovered that tidal flats had changed enormously over the 50-year time period, about a 65% decline in that ecosystem. This enabled it to be classified as endangered under the Red List of Ecosystems. And those rates of losses, surprisingly, are pretty similar to what we might find in Brazilian rainforests back in the 1990s. It really is an ecosystem that is changing quickly for the worst. For Criterion C, we used sediment outflows from the major rivers in that region. It was funded by Google and allows any user to take observation data, such as in situ data or occurrence data, and produce map classifications from Landsat data. So we're really using the entire archive of Landsat satellite images.
For over a decade, I've worked as part of an international team of passionate scientists, developing the Red List into the global standard for ecosystem risk assessment. Many countries now use the Red List because it puts ecosystems into risk categories that are meaningful and easy to understand, and it provides critical information for sustaining nature. Join us in this short course, where you'll discover how to use the Red List of Ecosystems, explore the best methods used in case studies from around the globe, meet the world's top practitioners and researchers, and you'll be encouraged to consider how the Red List of Ecosystems might work for you in your situation. If you care about threatened ecosystems and biodiversity and you want to take action, join the course now and learn with the top scientists who are making a difference.
Hello everyone, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our course, Lifestyle Medicine for Mental Health Services, Life and Mind. I'm Dr. Tatiana Rox, Senior Research Fellow and Accredited Dietitian. It's a journey through science, but also through the practical, everyday steps that can make a real difference. Over the past few years, we adapted parts of the course based on your suggestions. So thank you for providing your feedback, comments, which is helping us greatly to keep this course useful and enjoyable.
So we're here at Tank Hill Reservoir, which is one of our big major storages for Wannon Water. It supplies water to Warrnambool. I'm in charge of reporting on storage levels, how much water we extract from the environment, any long-term trends in water use.
Energy storage is a really important part of being able to have that power when we need it.
The battery is absolutely critical because yes, you can use wind and solar panels to create the electricity, but you've got to store it. One of the best ways of storing it is in a battery.
Here at the Deakin University Battery Research and Innovation Hub, we have a unique capability to be able to take raw powders, raw battery materials, and turn them into an actual prototype. So we're really in that gap of scaling up the research that's done in the labs up towards that commercialisation scale.
As a scientist, we require to develop and innovate novel technologies that are safer, cheaper, and to provide more options for people to take more sustainable choices.
Hi, my name is Douglas King from Queensland Fire and Rescue. Welcome to the next instalment of hydrogen training developed by AFAC. Along with your EV training and the first hydrogen awareness course, this course is designed to build on your knowledge of hydrogen vehicles and refueling stations.
On a truck like this, TPRDs are found at the end of the hydrogen tanks. They may also be located along the tank manifold. TPRDs are located to release upwards but gas can still project outwards from the vehicle and have a distance of many metres, making this area particularly unsafe.
The local council had a workshop. We were invited to input into their strategic plan. And so what it was platforming the things that we do. Council learnt what we were doing, and then I got a call from council the next day saying, Barb, we've got the thing for you.
You also have more influence over the timeline, so you can get the feedback when you need it.
You don't need to be a numbers person, you just need to know where to look.
Metals instead of metal plastic blends, recycling them later becomes much easier.
They may have 20 years of experience in oil and gas, but no hydrogen knowledge. At the same time, you'll have a more junior engineer, maybe 5 or 6 years of experience.
What I like about that is you've started to touch on things we're going to get into a little bit later, because it is very humbling as a more experienced engineer to move into a sector.
You can actually see for the 10 years before COVID that the rate of the number of antidepressant prescriptions had doubled in that time.
Being in a critically endangered ecosystem like the Mountain Ash system, I think elevated the level of concern about what was happening.
Just face the next chemo or see the possibility of recovery and, dare I say, remission. That felt enormous at the time and very impactful.
This course is different from a lot of other courses on dementia and on incontinence.
The course contains information and many resources to assist carers in their caring role.
The course will also give you knowledge and practical strategies to support a person living with dementia and incontinence.
Sustainability for me is about realigning ourselves back to the earth and reconnecting ourselves to everything that we can see around us here at Ceres. So the posts that are around me, the community gardens, they're an example of what's called curved timber. So that's the curved part of the timber that would usually be cut off and either mulched or burnt, but they're actually used here as posts. So we're keeping that material in its value. The designer had one key design, bringing together everyone's different opinions and understandings of what they wanted to get out of these community gardens. And the key thing about the design was about accessibility. So all the different beds are different shapes, different sizes, elevated up so people who can't access bending down can still access the garden. There are wider pathways to make sure that wheelbarrows can move through, that mobility aids can move through. Because the space is more broad and opened up, more light is able to come through to access for the plants, but also the gardeners are able to mingle and communicate together. But if there's anything like big branches and twigs and logs that need to go, that process doesn't work very well. So what you can see behind me in all this beautiful terracing is an example of hugelculture. It's stacking that organic material on top of each other and creating these different terraces, and over time that will break down into humus, organic matter, which will then feed the soil.
Tens of thousands of published studies and decades of research underpin our understanding of communicating about climate change.
I usually talk to my friends. It's not just climate change, many things that are concern on a global level.
Climate change scares me in a lot of ways.
I think it's a problem that stays at the back of my head.
I think it makes me feel aware.
I'm optimistic about it because I can see the momentum that the next generations are making.
Whoever you are or wherever you are joining us from, we think you'll find ideas here that will inspire you to become a better climate communicator and ultimately to contribute to climate solutions.
Using XR, we showed CO2 emissions as black balloons that drifted up into the city and stayed with us as we moved around. The visualization of something that's usually invisible was shown to be incredibly powerful in enhancing people's understanding of how transport choices affect climate change. The urgency of the issue on individual, communal, and broader social levels. Picture yourself walking through a familiar cityscape, only to see the streets submerged in water due to sea level rise, or witnessing the devastation of your community affected by a severe storm. These vivid experiences can evoke emotional responses,
and that we can strive to realise. I find a field called Indigenous Futurism especially interesting in this regard. Grace Dillon coined the term to describe a form of storytelling whereby Indigenous authors use the speculative fiction genre to challenge colonialism and imagine Indigenous futures. But part of the Indigenous Futurism agenda.
Hi, it's Mark from downtown. We've all been here for a meeting, a training session, a planning day, or to attend a conference. But I've got something new to tell you about that we are calling a day at downtown. So come with me while I tell you all about it. Taking advantage of the beautiful spaces we have here on level 13, we're inviting teams who are dispersed across our campuses to come and spend the day with us at this central location to connect, to collaborate and have those great in-person conversations. This way. We can welcome up to 64 team members who will each have their own desk fitted with the latest 34-inch widescreen monitor, a wireless keyboard and mouse and simple one-cable connection. 10 of these desks are located in a separate room that you could use for a focused quiet work or for a small team delivering on a project together, some with views of the city. We have this high table, which can also be used as a standing desk, and these booths can seat up to 4 people. Smaller teams will share their day at downtown experience with other areas of the university. You never know who you might bump into. As part of your day at downtown experience, your teams will be invited to take some time out for 10 to 15 minutes to be mindful and enjoy an immersive experience.
Concentrating our attention from part to part.
Listen is an accredited online training program that gives health professionals the confidence and skills to support emotional well-being of people living with diabetes. During the course, you'll learn to build rapport, use evidence-based tools like problem-solving therapy, and know when and how to refer clients for additional support.
And the Deputy Director of HiCell. I've been working in the area of hydrogen fuel cell research for several years, and I'm passionate about developing technology to help us rapidly decarbonise our economy. While there may not be consensus right now on the exact solutions and technology mix that will power the world's hard-to-abate sectors, we know that change is coming quickly. In this cutting-edge course, we will explore the technology that is widely recognised as a front-runner to revolutionise these critical industries. Proton exchange membrane fuel cells, known as PEM fuel cells. We'll explore the principles of electrolysis operation and the science that drives the transformative process. Comparing the main features of electrolyzer technologies, you'll gain insights into the strengths and applications of each type. Using an innovative 3D model, you'll get digitally hands-on with an electrolyzer to visualize the principles of its operation.
The idea of adding even more appointments felt too hard.
I mean, I really get that. I've been living with Crohn's since I was a teenager.
Coral bleaching is such a dramatic visual image that you can really see when a reef is normal, it has all these colors, and when it bleaches because of climate change, everything turns white. And it's not dead yet, so you can still have a positive message about the potential for recovery when reefs are bleached, when corals are bleached. But it's like such a strong symptom that we really understand what's happening and what the risks are that are involved.
Another issue is that it often comes down to where you look and how hard you look for this knowledge. And often people see initially a deficit of understanding and a lack of data. But if you start thinking creatively and looking in a range of different sources and places, different cultures and work that's been lying around for a very long time and perhaps forgotten, much of that information turns out to be very useful in a red list assessment.
In sport, the role of the coach as leader is not to push, but to inspire. Rather than create fear, it's to foster an inner desire. More than just delivering results, the coach's role is to grow rounded and grounded human beings. Hi, I'm Paddy Upton. We'll also discover insights into different ways of leading others and practical methods to take your leadership or coaching to the next level. For me, leadership is about creating a fertile environment for others to learn. All this needs to happen within the context of the fast-changing and coaching and leadership landscape. Whatever your interest in coaching or leadership, whether in sports, business, or any other purpose, I look forward to sharing my insights and hopefully helping you become an even better leader.